And here we are in game two with Mondragon currently up 1-0 against Nony. And, it's kind of funny because, well, actually, before I say anything funny, we just want to briefly say that Mondragon is in the bottom right as the white Zerg, and in the top left we have Nony spawning as the yellow Protoss. And already Nony's not going to be too happy about cross-map positions. He would most prefer vertical positions where he could be super aggressive against his opponent while taking that
Right.
side expansion base. It's kind of funny because Nony has been practicing these very technical builds on his stream. These openings where he gets in there early with a control group of Speed Zealots and transitions into these 2 Stargate Corsair plays, and then occasionally goes into Dark Templar drop after that. Just a lot of really fine controls demanded to do that sort of strategies, and a lot of people have been trying to imitate that style, but because they don't have nearly the level of control that Nony has, they end up losing miserably with it. So it's kind of funny, before the game you were mentioning, yeah, you have to have really perfect shuttle control. Of all players out there today, I think Nony is most able to control his units just like to the fullest, really.
Right. It reminds me of, excuse me if I can't remember the finals. I believe it was in MSL finals with Fantasy against Jadong, was it? Where Fantasy really showed the use of vultures and the Fantasy build. And then that
yes.
became kind of the thing to do on IC Cup, and it was just ridiculous because these players obviously didn't have the multitasking caliber of Fantasy,
Yeah.
and I would just attack move with 12 speedlings in their main, and they would die because they just didn't have the multitask to be able to do it. So, but Nony really known for his mechanics and having very, very sharp builds. I don't think there's anyone who does it better than Nony. Just squeezing as much as he can out of the timing of his builds. And here it looks like the hatchery will get up, and again Nony forced to go Forge first against Mondragon's 12 hatch.
Yeah, that's never something you want to be doing in Nony's position. I mean, this map, even though it is a big macro map, there's just such a fear of 9 pools because it's pretty fast to get from one base to the other. I mean, there's that initial curl around the ramp that your Zerglings have to do, but to get to an expansion that your opponent will have is real fast, so players love 9 pooling. If you just look at Nony's choke, it's a little wide, so Zerglings have the potential to swing around the side, so it's downright unfair for Protosses, right? They have to get that early forge unless they can luck out and scout their opponent super early on.
Right. And just to talk about the diagonal positions yet again, that's not only going to impede Nony if he's trying to do any sort of speed zealot play, but it's also going to be annoying if he's using Corsair Reaver. I mean, we're analyzing it so much, or at least I am, because it is the build that seems to work the best in PvZ on this map. But if he wants to fly those speed shuttles around, he'd want to go directly to the base, but it's so open and vulnerable, he's going to have to take the long way around, either going around the west or going around the north, and that's going to more than double the travel time to get to the base. So really annoying if he does decide to go down that route. We see Nony finishing up his assimilator, Mondragon placing that 3rd hatchery, now taking his gas. His gas is pushed back a little late. Standard these days is more around 13 or 14 supply. He's pushing it back to 16, which is not a bad idea on this map. Just push out more drones as you have the 3 areas of minerals to mine from. Get more drones in the early game and move into the macro game that works so well on Andromeda.
Now this is really cute from Nony. If you look at his wall-in, he has 1 cannon, and as you see, it just barely covers the tip edge of that forge, and he's also using a cybernetics core on that right side. And notice how it's going to be really hard for Lings to get through there. Once that first Zealot finishes, that cannon is going to be able to do maximum damage for the maximum amount of time if there's any Ling run-bys happening. And also there's like that little crack so his entire army can swing down the ramp and exit out the front. This is one of the best wall-ins I've actually ever seen on this map. Most players tend to actually hide that cannon way back, tucked away underneath that pylon. And we see that Stargate coming out really early again. So between last game and this game, Nony's actually been able to save a cannon. So that's going to help the fact that he had to go forward first on this map.
And this placement has clearly been studied. I mean, the way that Stargate tucks right in there, and it's right close to his natural, so the travel time is going to be more quick to get into Mondragon's main, and also he doesn't have to run that probe all the way to the second pylon we see at the west side. So really planned out build for Nony. Taking a look at Mondragon, actually, he's got this 4th hatchery before lair, and this is why he's pushed his gas back, because he's getting a Hydralisk den and getting Hydralisk speed. So this may be some sort of break that he's looking for here, or maybe he's just looking to open up kind of old school 4-hatch Hydra, get a bit of a presence on the map, and then move into lair play. We're going to have to wait and see.
And we do in fact see Nony getting that early robotics facility, which could help hold off a Hydra rank at the front. And one thing I do like about what Mondragon's doing is that it has the potential to win very early on. You can put so much pressure on with really any sort of early Hydralisk play in this matchup. But because he got that 4th hatch up, and because he gets those extra 5 minerals at that mineral expansion, he has enough economy to progress into the later stages of the game. Mondragon might be just planning an economic follow-through. We see this drone at the right at 3 o'clock, just sort of hiding by these mineral fields, getting ready to build an expansion there. I actually like this play quite a bit, yeah, because I mean, just the threat of Hydralisks right now is going to put a ton of pressure on Nony.
Right, I don't feel like it's a break, because if you were going to try to do that, you'd probably want to move out before the Corsair got there, but now he's deciding to move out. Looks like he doesn't really have the army composition that he really needed, making a few drones. So I think it is, as you said, he's going to move out, put some pressure, but has no intention of trying to finish the game. And we can see it's working here, as Nony, with no idea of what the follow-up is going to be at this point, he's forced to put up 3 cannons. There's no other way to deal with it while he waits for that first Reaver to get out.
Yeah, he might actually just see this expansion at the right and cancel some of those cannons, because, I mean, it's only like 6 Hydras. I mean, they're coming up here, they're trying to kill off this isolated bottom cannon. It's not going to work. Nony would actually be wise to cancel some of these cannons, and he does. He cancels 2 of the cannons. Look, absolutely brilliant. But it did delay that shuttle. He had to get the Reaver out much earlier on. He didn't want to have something stupid happen, like get a loss immediately. But that means his shuttle is a little slower, and most of the time, if you're doing this Corsair Reaver, you really want to be getting that top island as soon as possible.
Right. And because of the diagonal positions, it's going to be really nice for him to take that. It's nice and tucked away. Mondragon not going to have access to it for a while. And we can see Mondragon working on this cybernetic score. Nony's got to get that Reaver out, because he needs that +1 on the cybernetic score. Oh, the Reaver getting jammed up on the Zealot. So that cybernetic score is going to get taken out. +1 not going to finish. That's a little bit annoying. We can look at the robotics support. We've got shuttle speed coming out, so it is going to be, as you said, Corsair Reaver. And yeah, he really needs to get that island as soon as possible, because Mondragon's already up to 4 bases. He's got presence on the map, whereas Nony has basically no presence, as is typical of opening with Reaver Corsair. So he really needs to get that 3rd base to keep pace with Mondragon's economy.
Yeah, I cannot believe he managed to take out that cybernetic score. I mean, that's so big, you can't afford to let that happen. I mean, that +1 is going to be instrumental in just, crushing those Scourge numbers so quickly. And we see that Nony's been quite the Overlord hunter. These 2 Corsairs that are just passing through the middle of the map have 3 Overlord kills right there, which put Mondragon in the negative food for quite some time. We see Mondragon overcompensated a little bit. He made Overlords to the point where he has 93 food max. He's at 57 of 93, just going a little bit crazy with those Overlords. But, that's the sort of thing that's natural to happen. Look, another Overlord being taken out at the left. 5 Corsairs right now for Nony, which would be, that's like the money number. It's 6 Corsairs against Scourge. If you have the +1 upgrade, that's how you really kill the Scourge quickly. But right now, not so much for Nony. Got that cybernetics core kill. It just screws up so much. I can't emphasize that enough, how much that messes the Protoss player up.
So Nony deciding to react by taking his mineral only instead, and getting that Citadel of Adun. He's not researching +1 on the new cybernetic score, so I feel like he's just going to move. Yeah, there it is. There's the gateways. He's just going to move into Speed Zealots and Templar. So he's going to open up with this 1 Reaver harassment. Here comes the Reaver at the 6 o'clock, moving into Mondragon's natural. He's got speed on that shuttle. Probably just going to hunt the drones, get out of there, and then follow up with a more standard army. I feel like this is a weaker play,
but there's the
yeah,
scare going off.
Oh, no, it doesn't go. The second one, only 1 kill.
Oh, God.
Oh, the shuttle! Oh, God, it's only got 1 hit left on it. He just gets out of there by the skin of his teeth.
All right, coming back. You know what? I'm going to blame the fact that he almost lost that shuttle on the fact that he didn't have +1 upgrade. I'm just going to say that losing that cybernetic score, oh, man, just blame it on that. Easy peasy. But, man, that drop could have been some serious damage there for Mondragon, but somehow the Scarabs always find a way to glitch themselves on those mineral fields, so, you
Seriously.
know, I always feel real bad for the Protoss every time a Scarab shot goes off, because you just know that something not good's going to happen. And like you were saying earlier, we see those Corsairs swinging around the top side, but it's going to take forever. Here's some Scourge coming up. Look how easily the Scourge was able to pop right in there and kill off that Corsair. I mean, these Corsairs, the control they exert on the map is just greatly reduced by the fact that that +1. I'm never going to let it go. I'm really not. I'm just...
Well, it's a huge deal, actually.
Yeah. I mean,
the Scourge are so easy to just run in there and take out the Corsairs without that +1. You can even bring them 2 at a time and just whittle those numbers down. Yeah,
seriously. And it looks like Nony's just gearing up for a giant push. And oh, at the right side, there's a whole bunch of burrowed Hydralisks. Are they going to pop up? Neither. Excuse me. I have to remember to swallow before I begin talking, so I don't inhale my own saliva. Ugh. I just got so overexcited there.
Nony's actually got a lot of gateways now, pumping out a lot of units, and he's got he's finished the Dragoon range. He's got his Templar archives up. Actually, he's got a lot of Reavers out front, but I feel like he really needs to start getting some presence on the map. Mondragon's getting a little big for my likes. I'd like to see Nony either harassing or getting out of there with a big attack pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's waiting for that giganto homunculus mid-game push, killing off some of his own cannons so his units can get out there. He's not going to be morphing any Archons. He wants to keep those Templar alive. He's instead going to use the Corsairs as substitute Archons, as surrogate Archons, and he's going to use that giant Reaver Templar count to hopefully whittle down these numbers. I would really like to see him have a second shuttle at this point already, so that way he can continue to advance forward. A lurker out there for Mondragon, but it's going to get killed relatively easily, and this is the key period of the game, is this mid-game push by Protoss. Can Zerg hold it off? Zerg's actually expanding over here on the left side, putting a hatchery up with that mineral natural. Might seem weird because it's not so much money, but if you get the hatch up, you can sunk the ramp and take the main rail easily. And oh, here's 12 Hydrals that are going to get caught way off guard. These are free units for Nony if he chooses to go for it. But look at Nony. He's cutting downward and then to the right, so that way he can get that expansion safely up at the left.
Oh, big storm taking off a lot of Hydras there. Now retreating. Looks like Nony, this is what I really like to see from Protoss play. They move in, get the storm, and then move into a new position. They don't chase. Nony dropping the Reavers, getting in a good position here. We're going to have to see how his battle micro comes, as Mondragon moving a lot of units up to flank from the top right. Looks like they're coming down now, so there's going to be an imminent battle now. Looks like Mondragon's decided this is the time to attack. We can see a function of Nony opening up with that Corsair Reaver as he's behind in upgrades. He's at 1-1, whereas Mondragon is at, he's at +1, and Mondragon at 1-1. Mondragon relying on these lurkers to keep him at bay. Reaver moving in, gonna get a big scarab here, I've got to expect, and Mondragon needs to move in. The time is now. Right, a lot of Zerglings getting taken out. He's got to get a big storm going off. Here comes the flank coming down. It's going to take out the shuttle, but not much more. Nony in a very good position. Driving into the Nappa now, taking out the Lurkers. Those were the only things giving a little bit of control to Mondragon. Lurkers flanking in from behind, one getting taken out instantly by the Reaver. Big storms going off. Hydra's trying to dance around, but they're getting taken out. Another storm going off, taking out so many Hydras. Very nice play by Nony. He's now dancing these Dragoons back and forth. Mondragon getting right up in there. Looks like he may be able to live, but it's going to be close. He's going to be able to take this out with reinforcements, but the damage is done. Nony has done a lot of damage here with this army.
Yeah, and that expansion is now up at the left side. Zerglings swarming in, and wow, Defiler's out already for Mondragon. I mean, he was at layer tech for so long, but he sprinted towards Hive, which means that now that he's stabilized, look, he's at 1,700 minerals and 1,200 gas. We don't like to see the money getting that high, but with the hatchery count that Mondragon has, he can pump a ton of units out and sprint towards that left expansion very, very quickly. Almost an exclusively Zealot army out right now for Nony. If Mondragon can mount some sort of counteroffensive and take out that left expansion, that'd be huge during that big battle outside Mondragon's front. Mondragon was countering this left expansion with those 12 Hydralisks that were starting out at that left expo. But Nony was good enough with reinforcing that he was able to take it back out, and it looks like the game's calming down a little bit right now, which means that my blood pressure is going to dip back to a normal level for a brief moment, as we have 127 food for Nony and about 100 food for Mondragon. But Mondragon also has that bottom left base locked up pretty tight.
Right, but right now I feel like his main base is the thread. It's the weakest point. Although all his reinforcements are there, he doesn't have quite big enough an army yet. Moving out with defilers now, and the thing about, as you said, Nony with that zealot-heavy army, the thing I'm nervous about is looking at Plague being researched, because if you've ever seen Zerglings against Plagued Zealots, it's just insane how quickly they die. So both armies here are going to scamper away. We see the upgrades are pretty even, 1-1 for both of them. Nony's added a second forge at this point, which I really like, as he secured that third gas, putting a gateway there just to lock it up, and looks like he's ready to move out once again.
I love the fact that Mondragon expanded to this bottom left location, because it means that that Nony, look at how his bases are pointing, right? He wants to be moving downward. He wants to be expanding down along that lane.
Right.
So if Mondragon expands there, he effectively cuts off Nony's fourth and fifth gases. So it looks like Nony's now moving around to the bottom. Oh my god, a beautiful Plague on those Zealots. And as you said, Zerglings versus Plague Zealots is like shotguns versus balloons. Moving right in here. We have, Plague just burning through all those Zealots, but that Reaver is doing so much damage, it finally manages to fall, and the only thing keeping Nony alive right now is that phenomenal macro boat. We've got Ultras pouring out of Mondragon's base. We have the Hydralisks moving in there, and Nony might lose this army because of those two brilliant Plagues. Another Plague going off. I've never seen so much Plague favoritism. There was almost no swarms that got thrown down, and it was well worth it. Look at these Zerglings just ripping through these Dragoons, chasing them down. Shuttle might actually even fall now. Ooh, managing to sneak some Templar out through there. So, wow, pretty big advantage.
That was really
for Mondragon.
nice, actually. Bringing in that shuttle to pick up the Templar, very nice. They would have died otherwise. Of course, shields taking full damage from everything, so Hydras are really good against Plague Zealots as well. And I mean, no Protoss player is going to be upgrading shields until he's done with the other upgrades. As I took a look, I'm completely a liar because Nony is upgrading shields number 1, almost done. But I feel like he needs to get a Dark Archon out on the field, start feeding those defilers back, because that would be a really nice way to deal with it. As you said, Mondragon has this bottom left just completely locked up. Nony's really got to give that up or switch to something like carriers, because he's not going to break through that with conventional means. He's got to look to either expanding to the right or taking the 12 o'clock island or driving straight through the heart into Mondragon's main. Those are really his only options at this point.
Yeah, I'm blown away at Nony's ability to just macro so well. He's almost remaxed again. And what's kind of funny is that when you get to the stage where you transition to Ultralisks as Zerg, you tend to be like, all right, great, I've hit the late game, I've hit the army composition I want, I'm golden. However, at this point, with the ability to make so many Zealots, a big Zealot Archon Reaver army is what Nony has the money to make. And that just crushes these big Zergling Ultralisk counts. And it looks like Nony might be trying to take out this left expansion, but that is just locked up tight with all those Sunkens and Lurkers. Look at that beautiful defensive. That's why we love taking that Mineral Natural first. And Nony looks like he's going to be making another push down here at the bottom side. And see, he's taking that Expo at the top, and I think that if he had planned to do that earlier, he would have been moving along the top half of the map and then downward. He just was not expecting to have that much defense encountered at that bottom left.
Nony's done really well this game of moving in one direction and expanding in the opposite direction, and it's really frustrating as a Zerg if the Protoss just dances his army and then suddenly there's 12 cannons up at another base, and that's what he's done really well. Now dropping the Reavers, he's got a lot of Zealots as meat shields to protect these Reavers. A massive Plague going off, big Storm going off too, taking out a lot of Zerglings. Defilers juicing up, now putting off another juicy Plague, and these Zealots are going to fall so quickly. Nony has a big army, but I'm really scared with the amount of Plague that's on the field. Looks like some flanking Zerglings coming up, and these Ultras just carrying through the Zealots. Looks like Nony is going to win this battle, but he's got to be careful about reinforcements. Nony's slipping on his macro a little bit. He's up to 3k. Mondragon sitting about 1k, 1k. Really nice battle micro by Nony, and he gets a little bonus of taking out all these Overlords. That's really frustrating when you try to re-macro as Zerg and you're in the red after a big battle. So Mondragon needs to be careful. Nony now dropping these Reavers, pushing into 3 o'clock. Looks like he might be able to take it out. He's got to be careful about reinforcements, and looks like Zealots are streaming to the middle of nowhere at top right. A bit of a misclick there. A lot of Archons morphing. 2 Reavers there. Swarm going up. Looks like the first Reaver is going to get taken out. Second one stays alive. Nony reinforcing very, very well, and he's going to push through at 3 o'clock.
No way! I had no idea that Nony would be able to take this out. The food counts are so even right now. It's 150 versus 170 food. Look at these Ultros and Hydros just swarming in, but this right expansion, I think, is going to fall. Is that Reaver going to get taken out? Yes, it goes down. And these Archons are just trying to hold these Zealots. The backside are going to be advancing forward, and it looks like you might barely save this expansion, but Nony is continuing to reinforce. He's convinced he can take this expansion out. He is so close to knocking it down. It's at half life. And we have all these more Zealots streaming in, but that Ultra count is just a little bit too high, and Nony looks like he's going to have to retreat momentarily.
Right, I mean the damage is done at 3 o'clock, even if he doesn't take out the hatchery. All the drones are dead there. He's going to have to re-drone that, and Mondragon having a bit of mineral problems here. He's very low on money, actually, and his army's looking a little low. And the one thing I want to point out is that Nony's upgraded back up to +3, Mondragon at +2 carapace and not upgrading +3. So that's going to be hard for him if he keeps getting into these Zealot battles against Zerglings. He needs that 3rd carapace. Big storm going off. Actually, excuse me, it misses. The Hydras, I thought were going to run into it, but don't. Reaver getting taken out, and now the Ultra Hydra army is going to clean up. Looks like Nony took top right, but not going to have time to cannon it up as Mondragon's moving in to get rid of this Nexus.
Yeah, and this is huge. Desperately needs this 4th gas. The main and the natural are mined out. Zealots are now sprinting up here to try to defend it. I don't know if he's just going to target fire that Nexus. He might be able to take it out just fine. And oh my god, these Zealots are just barely going to be able to finish it off. But we look right up here on the high ground, and there is a Sunken being morphed. There's an expansion up, and yet more units streaming in here from Mondragon. This top right expansion is going to fall. Liquid Nony leaves the game. Wow. I cannot believe. I mean, perhaps something similar happened because I mean he's a well-mannered chap and always says good game. He may have been disconnected because I would have thought that Nony would have stuck it out just a little bit longer. But it looks like Mondragon is currently up 2-0 against the American superstar.
I was just taking a look around. Nony's main and natural both mined out. We're getting verification here from the referee that he did leave. No disconnect, no GG. Looks like he was just frustrated grinding the army of Mondragon all game. And that's the result once he realized, you know, even if he secures top right, he's lost the mineral natural. The same thing that happened bottom left is going to happen top right, and that means you've lost 3/4 of the map and you've lost the game. So Nony putting up a valiant fight, but wow, Mondragon, today is his day, wow.
I mean, to bring it back to that +1 upgrade, I mean, like, without that +1 attack upgrade from the Cybernetics core, those Corsairs really weren't able to do much of anything all game long. So that was wasted money, but most importantly, wasted time. Nony couldn't quite use that opportunity to do more shuttle harass. He would have wanted to take out more Overlords and that sort of thing. And to be honest, all those Corsairs make that first mid-game push for Protoss terrifying. That gives Protoss the opportunity to have total map control. He can shut down any sort of Overlords. The Zerg is really kind of in the dark when that first push comes out, but that was not the case in that last game, and Mondragon had the opportunity to get that bottom left expansion up, and was just in a solid position right after that first push happened.
Well, this is turning out to be the finals everyone dreamed of and everyone expected it to be. I just got a note here from our technical crew. We're getting a ton of viewers on the stream and on Team Liquid. Please do not refresh. If the stream goes down and you refresh, it makes Rich's wizarding a nightmare, so please just do not refresh. If anything happens, you know the wizard is going to take care of that. So, yeah, I mean, here we are. Whew.
I mean, we're like well into the 5 figures right now in terms of viewership. I think it's getting close to 20,000 right now for this finals. I mean, this is just such an unbelievably epic event. And let's just go on and talk right about the next map, which is going to be Neo Tornado. It's insane to think that we are currently in game 2 of a best of 7 already.
Right. Wow. Okay. I feel like, okay, Destination and Andromeda have very specific, tailored ways to play them. I feel like they're very tactical maps, and they have a style that suits them. Tornado is more of a map like Python, if you will, where it's more of a freestyle map, and thus it's a little bit difficult to talk about what we expect there.
Yeah, Tornado has all these sorts of crazy funky formations with it. I mean, those little high ground pods that are right outside your front, I mean, they might just look like a nice little defensive position, but it creates this weird ability to counterattack. I mean, if you just look at the top position on Tornado, there's that big wide open area right outside the top position's third base, near the top left, and that's where you're going to see a lot of the units piled up. But that high ground area gives the opportunity to swing out way far to the right. We've seen tons of players in pro matches do that sort of counterattack, and it always throws the opponent off quite a bit in pretty much all matchups. So I'm interested to see if Nony's going to be doing a little more standard play this map. I know he's had that 2-gate fast zealot push straight into 2 Stargate style plan for quite some time. I think this might be the first map where he's actually going to get to show that off.
All right, well, with that being said, let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into Game 3.